Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We are back with some more college football content. Today we will be just recapping the games from this weekend, and then we will just do a quick reaction to the new AP poll. So, where would you like to start? What game?
Well, let's talk about my team for a minute, just so I can
Oh
get the
no.
heartbreak out of the way.
Okay.
Well, we'll talk about both of my teams because,
I'm saying I don't know which one you meant by my team.
well, I'll talk about both of
We'll
them.
just hit the whole state of Oklahoma then. How about that?
Yeah, let's start with the entire state of Oklahoma. Tulsa continues to suck terribly, and I don't think that's going to slow down anytime soon
No.
I'm assuming until they get rid of Phil. I I don't know. They haven't been good. I think they had better expectations going into the season this year.
I don't know. What
Than
are they? How many wins do they have?
3, they're like 3 and 6, 3 and 7.
Dang. And just a couple years ago, they're in the championship game.
Yeah, a couple years ago, they were in the American Championship game. They're terrible this year, as has been the usual for a little while. OSU collapsing even faster and at a more insane rate than I thought.
In 2 weeks,
Um,
they went from number 9 to unranked.
they have been outscored in the past 2 games 85 to 16.
God dang, yeah. I guess it is true.
I've never seen a collapse so fast, so I don't know what's going on. Obviously, Spencer Sanders was out
Yeah,
and
yeah, you
Rangel
gotta
was in,
preface
but
that he
honestly,
was
if he
out.
took care of the ball, he looked pretty decent. He shined there were moments. He had moments. I think, he's a true freshman, so a couple years, some good development, he could be good because he had some shining moments. He just had some interceptions as well. But really, it's the defense that's an issue right now. They ran it for 300 yards, so
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
it was insane. Like 341 or 51 yards. I think it's 51.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So, Oklahoma State may not win another game, but they could always come around. But if they're going to come around, they need to do it soon. But they do at least get a bowl game, so I guess there's that to look forward to, even though it's gonna be like a shitty
Oh yeah.
bowl game. OU played a close game to Baylor
Yeah,
but
did you
lost.
watch any of it?
No,
You didn't, you
no.
weren't able
It was
to.
on
Well, is
ESPN
it? Yeah,
Plus.
yeah, I forgot it's on ESPN Plus. And next week's games might be too, because it's OU versus West Virginia.
Ooh, yeah.
That's an even worse game than OU Baylor.
Yep.
It it's just the turnovers cost them. Two tipped
They have a lot of
interceptions, and
turnovers.
then
Uh,
yeah, they had two tipped interceptions and a third interception that was also kind of tipped, but it probably would have been an interception anyways. Um, and I think they may have had one more. They at least had three interceptions. Two of them were tipped. It wasn't the quarterback's fault. It just they got tipped. It was just bad luck. Got tipped straight up, and they caught it. And then the one was his fault. And their run defense, they just when they needed to get stops, they couldn't. And so they lost. They lost at home. They had to win out to even have a positive conference record.
yeah, the entire state of Oklahoma has been very embarrassing
Yeah,
this
the
year.
OU versus OSU game was gonna be like, all right. Well, if OU isn't doing well, at least OSU will be who knows, maybe number 5 or in the top 4 by the time they play. Maybe they can play spoiler, but now they're both unranked and very far from being ranked again without some chaos.
It feels like their defense is getting worse throughout the
OSU's defense is getting worse.
season.
OU's gotten a bit better, but goddamn, OSU's has regressed rapidly. Mainly the run defense. I don't know what
It's
happened.
getting worse with every game. I don't know what's going on either, but it's getting worse every game, so
And they let Kansas run all over them.
yeah.
Kansas. I know they're not like as bad as they usually are, but it's still Kansas. It's still like a 3-star running back at best.
Is it the running back or was it Bean that did it? Because he broke away
I
quite a
bet it
few
was
too.
both. The running back definitely. I watched part of it, and the running back he was going off too. So it's probably a mixture of both. I bet it
Yeah.
was.
I'm gonna look real quick. Rushing, yeah, Devin Neal ran for 224 and Jason Bean ran for 93,
Yeah,
so
see, that's just unacceptable.
that's terrible.
224 by one back. That's unacceptable. They'll
Devin Neal
never
also
win.
received for 110 yards. He was having a
Oh
hell
my
of a game.
god.
Yeah, Devin Neal, dude. He went off that game.
Yeah, the state of Oklahoma is in turmoil. All their teams are not
Absolute
doing good
turmoil.
this year.
Also lost to Tulane, which everyone expected because Tulane's like probably the best 5 team.
They
But
also have an okay defense. Like they've held opponents pretty low.
I don't know. I guess.
Their offense
Oh,
is just
Davis
terrible.
Brin. Davis Brin didn't even play. I don't know if I don't know if he's hurt or if they just benched him because he's bad.
I don't know. I'm
But he
not
did
sure.
not play in this game. Maybe they benched him after they fucking got beat by SMU. Ooh, he might got hurt halfway through or bench. I don't know.
Well, since talking
Either
about
way,
mainly Big 12 teams, you might as well go ahead and go through the entire Big 12. Let's hit the TCU game first. You know, they're the leader of the conference. They're the only chance to get into the playoff. They beat Texas Tech. It looked like it was decent, 10-point win, but they were down by like 4 at like 10 minutes left in the game. They do it
mhm.
every week. They're down in the fourth and come back like almost every game. It's
Yeah, well, at
insane.
least this time we can say
Yeah.
that they didn't win by murdering the starting quarterback.
No, they did get a
Like
targeting
how
call in the game though.
yeah. So at least they finally won a game without killing the starting quarterback. So there's that. They're also well, we'll get into that later. Never mind.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. I'm assuming I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, they beat Texas Tech. They still have Texas, Baylor, and one other team to play. Who I know they're not. There's not a good one. I know Texas and Baylor are the two hardest. Um, I think both of them have a chance to beat TCU for sure. TCU is not a world beater. They're like what slightly above average. Honestly, like they're not like elite. Their defense
TCU?
is not good.
No, TCU. I want to say they're a little over hyped if you just look at how their games have ended, but it doesn't matter because when you're ranking them, what matters is that record and they're undefeated. So I get it, but
Yeah.
I think if you just look at what's going on, they've had a lot of close
Like they
games,
haven't
and
had a quality win really. Like they still have not they've yet to have a quality win where they just dominate the game.
not since like Tarleton.
Yeah, because yeah, they dominated. You guess what they did? They knocked out their starting quarterback, and Texas shut them out when they didn't have their starting quarterback. So that's not a quality
Yeah,
win.
yeah,
They hurt Spencer Sanders. They knocked out Kansas State starting and backup quarterback when they were losing like 28-3 or something. Like they've been getting lucky. And yet again this week, you know, they were down in the fourth quarter and end up winning by 10. West Virginia, they're only up by like 3 and scored a touchdown like the last play of the game to win by 10.
yep,
If TCU makes the playoffs, if you thought OU's losses were bad, if TCU goes up against Georgia, you might as well not even watch the game. Because
for
I'm
sure.
assuming you saw what Tennessee did to, or Georgia did to Tennessee, or at least saw the score.
Yeah, that was really a game that you never really had a doubt that Georgia was going to win. I mean, they looked dominant the entire time,
Tennessee's
really.
offense scored over 50 points a game on average. TCU's is like in the 40s, I'm assuming, like 42, 43 or
Yeah,
44. So
I
like
don't know the stats, but
it's something
they're
like
in
that. I
the
know
top.
Tennessee scored over 50 points a game on average. TCU's in like the 40s, I'm pretty sure. So TCU would have scored like 7 or something, probably 6, maybe 9 with all field goals. Like, and their defense is worse than Tennessee's, I'm pretty sure. So if you're TCU, you kind of you want to win out, but at the same time, do you really want to win out? Wouldn't you rather just go to a New Year's Six bowl game against someone that you might actually have a chance of beating?
Right.
That's it's a hard choice. Do you want to win out and go to the playoffs to get it pretty much a guaranteed loss, or do you want to take a loss and then have a chance to win a New Year's Six bowl game? It's a hard choice, but Good job, TCU. You're undefeated. I don't know how, but you've done it. You found ways to win, and that means something when you've won that many games.
It does mean
It's just
something.
beat Texas and not have it come down to the wire, and people start believing in you a lot more because people love Texas, and we'll get into Texas in a second. But
Yeah.
anything left on TCU?
No, I think that's good.
All right, on to Texas, who they beat Kansas State at Kansas State after Kansas State shut out OSU the week before, who beat Texas the week before that.
Yeah, the Big 12 is
The Big 12 is just
weird.
insane. Everyone is beating everyone.
Yeah, and that's why Big 12 doesn't usually make it to playoffs a lot of the time.
Now, when it's a
They
12
knock
team, that'll
themselves out a
change the
lot.
story. But right now, it's hard for the Big 12 to make it because they never have that one team that is so elite that they just dominate the conference. Oh, you had a couple teams that almost did, but they still lost that one game. Every year, they lose one game to someone they shouldn't have. That's really the
Yep.
closest they've gotten recently.
And when they did make it to the playoffs, they'd get
Yeah, because of the defense. This is why I'm saying TCU's not gonna.
yeah,
TCU's
exactly.
offense isn't as good as some of those OU offenses were. They're probably better than
No.
the 2019. I think TCU's about on par with OU's 2019 team that lost like 63-21 to LSU. Like that's
Yeah.
what I'd compare them to probably. But I think 2018 OU had a better offense. 2017 OU had a better offense. Worst defense probably. That's some really bad defenses. So I'm not sure. But yep, Texas beats Kansas State at Kansas State. I believe they forced Adrian Martinez to fumble the ball in the last play of the game, and he
Oh,
turned it
wow.
over. It wasn't the last play, but at the end of the game when Kansas State had the ball, they sacked him and he fumbled, and they secured the ball and they got the win. Texas is number 2 in the Big 12 standings right now. If the season ended, they'd play TCU in the Big 12 championship.
If the season ended right now. Yeah, they're
And they
number
still have
2
to
in the
play
country.
TCU. So if they beat TCU, they may look really good to make the Big 12 championship to rematch TCU.
Actually, no, this is what Google is
What?
telling me.
Okay.
So I don't know how accurate it is,
Baylor
but
at the Big 12
Google
standings.
it's got Baylor at 2.
Did Baylor beat? No, Baylor has not played Texas. I don't know. I looked at the ESPN one and it showed that. I wonder what it. It doesn't really matter because it's using some weird tiebreaker. I don't know what tiebreaker they're using because Baylor and
What could
Texas
it
haven't
possibly
played,
be?
so it's using
Right.
some probably win streak if I had to guess.
Streak? Yeah.
Yeah, it probably goes off the streak because they're literally even in conference, even in overall record.
Do they have a common opponent that you can, like, say,
Oh,
"Oh,
I'm
these
sure.
are
Yeah,
in
I
the"
mean they're in the Big 12. They have to. They both lost to OSU,
Yeah.
but they both lost out of conference. Who else did
They
they
both
both?
beat
Who's their? Oh, Texas Tech. I bet Baylor beat Texas Tech. That's probably where it is. Baylor
Baylor
blew
did
out
beat Texas
Texas
Tech.
Tech, and Texas Tech beat
Yep.
Texas. That's probably where
Yep.
they're coming
Okay.
from. I'd say the ESPN one had Texas Tech, but it doesn't matter. They'll play in like 2 weeks or something like that. So
Soon, soon, soon. They play hell, when do they play? Texas plays TCU next week, and then the 19th, they play Kansas. Oh,
yep.
no, the last game of the season, the 25th.
Oh, so it may come down to Big 12 title implications on the last game of the season for them too. That is going to be a big game. Is it at Texas or at Baylor? Eh,
At Texas.
oh wow. Well, that's going to be a big game if they both win the next 2 games. Now, if
Yeah.
Texas loses, it's technically it still matters because Texas can beat Baylor and they'd have the tiebreaker. It just depends. It just depends really. But that Texas Baylor game is going to be massive. Kansas State's they're not out of it, but they're kind of out of it because Texas would have to drop. They'd have to win out, and Texas would have to drop a game, which they could. They definitely could. There are Texas, so we'll see.
Well, they have to play TCU, so they could easily lose to
Yeah,
TCU.
it's a 4-team race. TCU's pretty much locked in, so pretty much it's a 3-team race to see who's going to face TCU. But the rest of the teams are out of it. No one's going to make it. It takes
Yeah.
some big chaos for someone else to make it.
Yeah.
But is there any other Big 12 game we haven't gotten to yet?
Mm,
Oh, Iowa State beat West Virginia. I don't remember how bad now. Let me look really
oh, they
quickly.
did beat 'em.
I'm pretty sure they beat them. They're up big
Iowa
on
State
them.
finally got a win, 31-14.
Oh yeah, that shows you how bad West
Ooh.
Virginia's defense is.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Iowa
At
State
least
ends the
Oklahoma
season at
held them in
TCU.
check,
God
though.
dang, if Iowa State somehow beats TCU, if TCU's undefeated still on the last game of the season, it's gonna be
Ruin
tragic.
everything. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it doesn't matter what they
Kill
do in
their
the Big 12
playoff hopes.
championship; they're more than likely to be out. Yeah,
Alright,
Iowa State is they got to win finally, first conference win of the season.
finally. Well, that covers our Big 12 stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
No, yeah, we're just gonna cover, I guess, any big games.
I
Let's
just say any important games,
yeah, the
obviously.
Pac-12 just is interesting to me. It's not really that important. USC barely holding on to beat Cal. They were up like
Yeah,
by
yeah,
2 or
yeah,
3
Cal was
scores,
up
and then
at one
Cal
point.
came back, and I was
Or
like,
no,
God
no, no.
dang.
Were they ever down to Cal? I thought they were down at some point.
They could have been, but I don't think it was late. I'd have to look it up. Let's see. I need to see like the box score of it. They were down
No.
6-7, but then they took the lead and never were down again.
Okay.
Cal scored 21 in the fourth quarter to make it a one-score
Ooh,
game is why.
god
Their
damn.
defense
Yeah,
just is not very good.
okay,
Which
gotcha.
am I surprised? No.
No, it's a Lincoln Riley defense.
It's an Alex Grinch Lincoln Riley defense.
Yep.
Literally. Well, let's have to. If Lincoln Riley was still the OU head coach, I feel like OU'd have the exact same record and pretty much do the same thing. Like they'd be barely beating everyone. They probably would have lost to someone along the way. What do you think?
Yeah, 'cause their offense would be good enough to keep up.
Yep.
It's yeah.
Uh,
It'd be probably somewhere around the
it'd be
same,
about
but
the same as what USC's done. They'd probably have lost. They'd have a lot of close games.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep.
thought that was
Alright.
interesting. But anything else in the Pac-12? Not really. UCLA beat Arizona State.
Doesn't matter.
Oregon beat
I
the
mean,
crap out of Colorado. Who's like the worst FBS team in the country. So
obviously.
who
Yeah.
cares? But that's it for the Pac-12, really.
Um, anything in the Big Ten? I don't think anything interesting happened at the Big Ten.
Illinois lost again. They lost
Oh, to
23 to
Michigan State.
15. Yep.
Ouch.
Ohio State scored like 1 point the entire game. It was kind of embarrassing, honestly. They're
They were
blaming the
tied at the half
winds.
or something. It was
Yeah,
bad.
they kept saying the wind was just so strong. I was like, well, unless the wind's blowing your freaking running back backwards down the field, I don't understand how that makes you not be able to run the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, 21
Uh,
points. Like, god dang.
yeah. That's really bad.
Michigan was tied with Rutgers at half, or they're down or something like that, and then they just blew them.
Just
Like in the second
poured
half,
it
they're
on
just
them.
gone.
Yeah. Poured it
Uh,
on them, dude. Yeah, they were 17-14 at the half, Rutgers, and Rutgers never scored again,
yeah,
and Michigan decided to just pour it on
yeah.
them,
They're like, all
scoring
right, we're gonna go and just win the game real quick.
38 points in the second half. Jesus.
I think
Had to make
that's
them look
it
good.
for Big Ten. Really, that's like the biggest three games.
Yeah, ACC, we got a big one. We got a big one in the ACC.
Oh yeah, that's the only one I care
Clemson
about. Yep.
Clemson beat blown the fuck out. BTFO'd by Notre Dame.
They honestly could have been shut out this game. I think they had all the points they scored, at least on one drive, was like nonstop holding penalties and pass interference on Notre Dame. So they just got like given field position.
Yeah,
I know on at least one. I didn't watch it. I fell asleep
amazing.
after at like 6 p.m. So I didn't watch like any game after that besides highlights.
Let's see. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that other than I think Clemson's playoff dreams are probably over now.
I wouldn't put them in the
Maybe
playoffs.
I wouldn't have put them in them
Notre Dame's
probably
not even
anyway.
good. They're like okay now, but I mean, you
They
saw who
had
they
a
lost
terrible
to. They
start.
started off
Yeah,
terrible. They had like the worst loss out of any top 25 team.
Marshall.
Yeah. Marshall's
Yeah,
bad. Like, feel like, oh, maybe Marshall's okay. No, they're terrible.
are they bad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're terrible. I want to look at what their record is right now.
Are they Sun Belt or? Yeah. Oh yeah, they're 5-4 overall. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Sun Belt.
So they're not even the best Sun Belt team, so you really can't excuse that.
No, no, it's a terrible loss. That's why they won't even get near New Year's Six ball. Obviously, they have 3 losses.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Clemson, goodbye. Just not a big game, but kind of funny, just to make fun of it. Miami still
Who did they lose
going
to?
down
I
the
already
crate.
forgot. They scored like 3 points the whole game or something.
Florida State, who's,
Oh, there
like,
they are.
good, who's,
Yep,
like, a decent ACC team, but
45 to
still.
3. Meyer
Yeah,
Cristobal
uh,
better figure out how to coach or something. I understand it's his first year, but I mean, 3 points, like really?
3 point there was some crazy shit. There was a point where, the quarterback was, like, looking off into the stands, and the fucking center hiked it, and it rolled past him, and he tried to dive on it, and it shot out from under him, and the Florida State guy picked it up. It was insane.
God dang.
There's, like, a lot of weird, just bonehead shit that goes on in Miami right now, so the U
What does Uncle Lou call him? Sunshine Billy or something? Or for the Florida guy?
Sunbelt Billy?
Yes,
Or are
Sunbelt
you
Bill.
talking about Florida State?
No, no, I'm talking about Florida. Does he have a nickname for
Okay.
someone at Florida State?
He just calls the entire team White Tonto.
Does he? I've never heard him call him that.
Yeah, yeah.
It just reminded me
Um,
of Uncle Lou. I was like, God, I love his freaking this Billy nickname.
but yeah, for the insane preseason hype that the U got,
Oh my
4
God,
and
they got so
5.
much.
4 and 5, so
And they've had some bad
oh
losses.
god damn it.
Uh-oh. That's quick.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Wake
anything else
Forest.
in the ACC?
Wake
I know you just
Forest
wanted to quickly mention
continues
it.
their downward spiral after that terrible loss to Louisville.
Louisville's on a roll, and I think they play Clemson this week.
They might
Clemson
actually
better
win
watch
that.
out.
Louisville's the best team in the ACC.
And the ACC is
Hilarious.
just bad.
Hilarious when Louisville's the best team in the ACC.
I just God dang losing to Notre Dame always like just feels demoralizing. So Notre Dame's just kind of like a laughing stock. It's kind of like average at best, but they're always like in the top 10 usually. They got dang blown out by Notre Dame. At least it was at Notre Dame. At least it was a little less embarrassing.
I
But
guess.
I think it's time to move on. Unless you have any other ACC teams you want to mention really quickly.
No, but we do have quite a few games to
We have
cover
a
in the
lot of
SEC.
SEC games. Let's start with one that you thought was going to be the biggest game in the league, but honestly, it wasn't. The
It
Georgia
wasn't.
game, Georgia
It
versus Tennessee.
wasn't a nail biter, wasn't a big I mean, obviously crowd energy and stuff, it's a big game in that regard, but in terms of like, "Oh, this is gonna be a crazy game, back and forth the whole time,
The
it
back
didn't
and
live
forth for
up
the
to that
first like
expectation at
six,
all.
7 minutes or something. Tennessee had a
'Cause they,
3-0
like,
lead,
forced
and
the
that was it.
early on, and that was it, yeah.
Yeah.
And from that point on, Georgia just laid it on them. They were
Tennessee's
up
offensive line, I don't know if they're bad or if Georgia's just that good, but they just sacked him nonstop. 7 sacks or something like that, which is absurd. They had 10 on the season. They had 7 in that game. They
they were
almost
all
matched their
over him.
season.
Yeah, that was a game where it never really looked like there was any chance Tennessee was gonna
No,
win it. Georgia was in control basically the whole time, save for a fumble on, like, very early in the
I didn't even
game
watch it
that
after halftime.
got
You
Tennessee
could
that
just
three-pointer.
tell, like, unless like something crazy happened, I wasn't going to turn it back on. It didn't look competitive. Wasn't even that fun to watch.
No, I was no, I don't even know. But
Is there
no, it
any
was
other?
not as
Well, no.
entertaining as it should have been, unless you're a Georgia fan, I guess.
Yeah,
If
unless
you're a
you're a
Tennessee
Georgia
fan, it
fan.
definitely was not
I mean, that
entertaining,
stadium was loud.
I'm sure.
Probably one of the loudest stadiums or something. It was insane. Let's go to Ole Miss at Texas A&M. Oh my God, Texas A&M is a dumpster fire right now. They've lost
Still,
like 5 or 6 straight. They are so bad, and with the amount of talent they have, it's just embarrassing.
that number 1 recruiting class a couple years ago, last year.
Well, this last year to their freshmen, but like they had top 10 every year before that too. It's not like that was
Yeah,
their first good recruiting class. It's stupid. Terrible
that's just
coaching. If you have that much talent,
terrible.
then you're a bad coach. If you have that much
Yeah.
talent and can't win a game against an overrated Ole Miss team, you might as well go ahead and just pack up and leave. The only reason you're not gone right now is because of your contract.
Yeah, they can't. I mean, they could, but they won't. That's a huge hit to take. It's like $90 million.
Oh
No
yeah,
way.
I mean, if they
Yeah.
may get desperate enough. If Jimbo's trying to push him, honestly, I think he wants the money. He's really pushing their limits right now.
I think Jimbo is just one of the greatest con artists in history.
Why would you
He
sign a
got his
10-year
little
extension when
I don't know,
they hadn't done
'cause they
anything yet?
'cause they won 10 games during the COVID year or something, so they thought they were good, but nobody that year is, like, totally wiped from everyone's
Oh
like,
yeah, everyone's like, "Well, that was a COVID excuse,
memory.
don't count." Most people don't count the COVID year
You shouldn't count the COVID
because
year
every game
because
you played,
what
there's
happens
always
when you
players
count
out
COVID
on
year?
both sides,
Yep,
and there's no
and that's what you get.
crowds. Yeah,
So, Texas A&M has made their bed, and they can lay in it until Jimbo Fisher
until
dies,
like
I
what
guess.
2033,
Yeah,
2032, whenever his contract
whoever.
ends.
Yeah, or it gets low enough that they finally do decide to buy him out,
I
but
think
that'll
they
be
could if
a
they like.
while.
I think Texas A&M lost out the rest of the season, which they won't because they have a cupcake game in November because that's how the SC does it. I think they may fire him at the end of the season because it drop. I don't know what date it drops, but whenever it
Well,
dropped the next time they could.
speaking of a cupcake game in November, we can talk about our next SEC game. Little segue here.
Okay.
Um, there's a little SEC team, which looking at it now, it definitely was a cupcake game, but you gotta think probably in the preseason that should have been a they probably expected it to be a cupcake game, at least it would have been normally. It's a group of 5 team.
Okay.
Arkansas v. Liberty Flames.
I forgot
And
that they lost,
Arkansas
honestly.
lost that game
They only scored
to
19 points.
Hugh Freeze and the Liberty
Hugh
Flames.
Freeze, I
Or not
think he just got a contract extension because they were talking about him going to like West Virginia or Auburn, but I think he's got an extension.
well, he can leave whenever he wants to, even if they do extend it, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean he will. He might like the Flames. But, yeah, Hugh Freeze is putting shit together there in
Well, he was a
Liberty.
really good coach at what was it, Ole Miss, but then he had the allegations. He didn't leave because he was a
Yeah,
bad coach. He literally had to. He like got fired or
no, he was
whatever.
forced to resign, yeah.
Yeah, like he had
Um,
to.
yeah, but he's doing good at Liberty now, we'll see. If he ever does go back to the SEC, eh, I don't know. I don't know if he will. I doubt it. But for now, that's a big program builder of a win to beat a,
Beat an
you know,
SEC team.
an
Apparently, I don't
SEC
think the
team here.
SEC's that good out of conference this year.
Not great. No, I don't think so.
I don't know what it is, but it can't be that good. 'Cause there's been quite a few losses, I believe, by the SEC out of conference.
Definitely Liberty's best win though, so
Oh, it
that's good
has to
for
be if you
the
beat an
program.
SEC team. I mean, it's hard not to count that as a
Good
good
for the
win.
program. Great for the program. Um, what else do we got in terms of SEC
There's
play?
only one other big game I can think of. Is there any other smaller ones that like weren't top 25 games?
Mississippi State and Auburn, but
Who won
I
that? I don't even know the score because I don't
think
care.
Mississippi State won it in overtime.
And Auburn's terrible. Mississippi State's like okay at best. Like
Yeah, yeah. Well, um, let's just talk about it then. Alabama picks up loss number 2 in Baton Rouge against LSU.
yep, on a 2-point conversion in overtime.
Brian Kelly had some balls. I think it was the right call, though, obviously. I think it was the right call either way, get it or not, but, it's definitely a risky move, and it paid off to go for it in overtime like
Oh
that.
yeah. I guess he lost the Florida State game because he didn't go for two, and then I think they ended up just losing in overtime or
Oh,
double overtime. So I don't think you want to take the chance.
gotcha.
Bryce Young, terrible. He's like 25 for 51, under
Really? He did
50% completion
ooh.
percentage.
What happened to him? What happened?
He just wasn't good. Played bad. A lot of people are going crazy saying that like he's not good anymore, or that he must be injured or something with how bad he's been playing recently.
That's less than 50%.
Yeah, then that's really bad. Anything at 50% is like bad. Anything under 50% is terrible. Like that's really bad if you think about it. That means every time I threw a pass, there's a 50% chance that it wasn't going to be completed. That's pretty high.
Right. Yeah, over half the passes that he threw hit the ground
I think
or
I heard he was like
hit the wall.
overthrowing people a lot and stuff.
Mhm.
I think he had one touchdown, one interception. Like it wasn't good.
Well, LSU is number 1 in the West now, so
Yeah. Now I will say, does LSU have to drop two more instead of the tied Alabama? I don't know how divisions work. Does a division loss and a conference loss, is that separate, or if is it just conference losses are all
no, it's
one
all
thing?
just conference. It's all conf.
Yeah, so Alabama and LSU both have two conference losses.
No, LSU's only got 1.
Oh yeah, we're right. That's why. Well, that's why I meant they had to drop two. So if they drop one, they'll be tied with Alabama with the tiebreaker, and then they'd have to lose again, and Alabama would have to win out, which right now it doesn't look like they're
Well,
going to.
hold on though. Alabama's 3rd in the West. They're not 2nd.
Yeah, Ole Miss, but
Ole Miss.
but Ole Miss is, it doesn't matter. Like Ole
Can
Miss,
Ole Miss win out though? Because even if Ole Miss wins out and LSU drops a game,
Ole
um,
Miss would go in, right?
Ole
Well,
Miss would
no,
get in over Bama. Yeah,
yeah, because Ole Miss only has one loss. But LSU only
and
has
it's
one
to
conference
LSU.
loss. Yeah. So LSU has the
Yeah.
tiebreaker of 'em. But Ole Miss and Alabama play, I don't know when, I don't know if it's next week, but
Oh,
they
next week.
play.
Ole Miss and Alabama play next week. Okay, so that'll sort that out.
And even
Great.
if Ole Miss isn't that good, Alabama's not that good. I mean, if Alabama loses to Ole Miss, like Nick Saban's probably gonna retire the next day.
Maybe, yeah. Ole Miss, yeah, they'll probably lose to Bama, but if LSU wins out, it doesn't matter. Um,
Yeah, they'll get second unless LSU drops them.
Either way, Alabama's playoff hopes for this year are over, so really their season's
Yeah.
over this year. So,
I wouldn't be surprised if LSU craps out and loses like the rest of their games and Alabama sneaks in and wins it
it is
somehow.
Arkansas, then a cupcake game at UAB, or not at UAB, it's UAB, and then at Texas A&M. So,
Yeah, and they're both away, so that they could drop those. I'm sure Texas A&M somehow miraculously get the win to get Alabama in. But if they can beat just one of those two, they're going to beat UAB. They'll be fine. They're in no matter what.
yeah. Yeah, as long as they can either beat Arkansas or Texas
And
A&M,
Arkansas
and they
does
should beat
not look
UAB
good.
anyways.
It's like they should be favored pretty big, honestly, against Arkansas, don't you think?
Yeah. I do wanna take this moment now to also just mention that the SEC East just absolutely owns the West,
The
and it's not
freaking
even
West doesn't own a thing. They freaking are terrible.
the number 1 team in the West got BTFO'd. Was it at home in Baton Rouge
Yeah, by
by
the number
Tennessee,
two
the number
team in the
2 team in the
East.
East.
Yep.
Yep.
And the number three team in the West also lost to the number two team in the East.
Yeah, so, you know, the East is absolutely
Well, it's
dominating the
crazy 'cause,
West.
for like a decade now, the East has sucked. And before
Yeah,
Georgia got good, the East was like, terrible. And then Georgia got good, and now Tennessee's getting good, which we'll see if Tennessee stays good. I got to see it for a couple years to believe it.
because they had a
But
one-off, like, good season with Butch Jones, yeah, I
yeah,
think,
yeah, they
so
had that
we'll see
one
if
good
it's the same
season in like
situation with Heupel.
2016 or something. I don't know, somewhere around that time.
But you should be a Heupel fan anyways, because he's an
OU's
OU.
quarterback, yeah, when they won the
Well, he was an
championship, I
OC
believe.
as well. He OC'd a little bit, and then, like, I think OU ran him out of town,
They
so
did, yeah, they don't have a very good relationship. But
yeah,
but we're gonna ignore that and just we'll see if Tennessee does good. I mean, I'm fine with Tennessee doing good. It's good to see competition. I didn't like Alabama being like, all right, let's put our uniform on the field and we'll win. I like
yeah.
seeing competition. The Big 12 has too much competition because they keep knocking themselves out of anything.
They'll never
Like,
go to the playoffs if they keep
no,
up
they
with it.
won't barely make a New Year's Six bowl at this rate.
Yeah.
Like, luckily they're
That's
guaranteed a spot
tough.
in it because I mean, TCU's close to having like 3, 4 losses. Like the whole conference could have like at best a 2-loss team right now
Yeah.
if things just went a little differently. So
Oh boy.
I was gonna say, with how good of recruits Alabama has on their team, isn't it kind of like odd that they're doing this bad when their recruits are like twice as good as any other team in the country besides Georgia, and they're still losing?
I know, and playing some like
Alabama
close
has like the
games.
best recruits ever on like at like every position, pretty much. Like they're like, oh, Alabama's wide receivers aren't very good. They're probably all 4 and 5 stars, I'm sure. It's not like they're
Oh
running out
yeah.
there 3 stars. They're at least 4 stars. Like, God forbid you don't have all 5 star wide receivers out there and you have trouble throwing to them.
Yeah.
Like a 4 stars
So
isn't good enough. So like, I don't know. I think like I'm not saying Nick Saban's is done. He's not a good coach anymore, but like maybe people have finally caught up to him. They caught on to how he plays, and he's not getting the right coordinators in there. And they struggled 2 years in a row now. They haven't been very good.
yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
If they
We'll
do
see
bad
where it goes
next
from
year,
here.
then I really think Nick Saban might retire.
I think his days are numbered anyways. He's getting old.
He's getting old. They need some new blood in there. Like they
I don't
keep
see him
struggling.
going I don't see him going in more than another 5 years
Oh yeah,
max.
I said no matter how good they do, I don't think he'll go more than like 5 to 7.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Very few coaches coach up into their 80s. There's been a couple,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's just they're not looking like Alabama for 2 years in a row now.
No.
Lots of penalties. They're struggling when they shouldn't. With all the talent, he's lucky he has all that talent, or they'd be a lot worse off right now. If you're struggling with that much talent, then I don't even want to see what it looks like when you have an average team in terms of talent. But the question is, who's going to be the next head coach at Alabama? Is it going to be Dabo? Is it going to be Hugh Freeze?
I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it, though. I do wanna say Georgia definitely has the best resume now, though. I mean, they got a blowout over the number 6 team and then a 2-touchdown win over what was the number 1 team's now number 5, so
Yeah, well, that's AP. That's not technically playoff. They'll go off their own ranking. I think that blowout went over the number
yeah,
8, which will move up. That's 7 or 6 more than likely. And then yeah,
yeah,
they had
whatever they
Tennessee
put
number one in the
yeah,
playoff though. So
yeah,
yeah,
they did.
I can't believe Georgia was 3. Like I don't know why Ohio State's 2. They'll probably stay 2. Even though I think Michigan has to move up above them. Like
Yeah, if you
Northwestern's
use the
one and
eye test,
seven or something like that. Eye test, which they won't use the
terrible.
eye test for that game. They'll use I don't know what's a metric that wouldn't hurt them. They'll use some metric, I'm sure.
Yeah, but if you just watch the game, you see that
Well, that's the
Ohio
issue. I
State
don't think they always watch the games. They just look at the
4 at
score.
best, I think, is where Ohio State should be, 4, which is where I had them anyways.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I'm definitely on the train with you. Michigan's got to be higher up. Yeah, they're struggling against the Rutgers, but guess what? Ohio State was struggling against Northwestern, who's way worse than the Rutgers.
then the old Scarlet Knights.
All
Has
right.
Northwestern
Is there any other game
anyway.
you want to talk about? Anything you want to add before we do our AP reaction?
No, I think I'm good. I think that's all the big games that mattered to me.
All right. Well, do you have the AP pulled up? Or I can always just read it off too.
I can pull it up real quick.
I'll go ahead and just
Rankings. Okay, I
start
got
at
it.
the bottom. So we got number 25, Florida State, 6-3. They just won at Miami 45-3. I never had the games at Miami. That's bad. I bet that game's empty by like the third quarter.
If you there's highlights of, like, just Miami fans laughing in the stands because 'cause they're so bad, like, that's how
God
bad
dang.
Miami is that their own fans are laughing at them, so,
All right. That's just terrible. I mean, I have more to say about Miami than Florida State.
yeah.
Florida State had an amazing win over LSU, who had a chance to win the SEC.
Yeah.
All right, number 24, Washington. They are 7-2 with a close win at Oregon State at home. I don't really have much to say. I don't have to watch. I thought they had a third loss, but yeah, they barely beat Oregon State.
7 and 2.
They're okay, I guess.
I don't mind them at maybe a little higher, honestly. I mean Maybe
I think
not though.
Notre
I don't know.
Dame's too high. Like I know the win against Clemson boosted them, but you gotta look at those losses.
Yeah, I
So I'd have Notre Dame below Washington probably just because they're 6-3.
yeah,
But all right, number 23, Kansas State, who is 6-3. They just lost at home against Texas by 1 touchdown. They dropped 10 spots. That's a pretty big
10
drop.
spots is crazy. Well, you got beat by an unranked team who but then now they are
Texas
ranked,
was
so I don't
ranked.
know.
Oh no, they weren't in the AP. I don't think were they?
I don't think they
They
were
they
in the
weren't.
AP.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's why. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you shut out Oklahoma State and then lose to the team that Oklahoma State beat. Makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't
It's a
know.
very Kansas State thing to do. Act like they're the best team in the Big 12 and then lose and pretty much
Well,
knock themselves out of the race if Texas doesn't lose again.
right, yeah, that's true, they did. If Texas wins out,
Right now, I
Kansas
think
State
Texas
could watch
actually has
it.
a chance to win the Big 12. We'll see this weekend when they play TCU. If they beat TCU, I'm gonna put them as a front runner to win the Big 12. 'Cause, I mean, unless they like crap out, they're gonna play TCU again, who they have already beaten. So we'll see.
Right, yeah.
We will see. Number
Crazy that it's like a 3-loss Texas wins the Big 12 if that's how that plays
Oh
out.
god, dude, no one will be happy if TCU's undefeated. If they
Oh,
somehow
I
beat
know.
Texas and it's them versus Texas again, which technically it could be, but it'd be more likely to be Baylor, which no one wants to see Baylor win. I forgot. Let me just that Baylor game was so boring. I hate watching Baylor play. I about fell asleep during that game. Luckily, I at least stayed up and then um fell asleep after because god dang, I don't know what it is about how Baylor plays, but it's so boring.
I know you hate how they play, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just boring. It's just I want to turn the channel to a different game when Baylor's on offense. It's so boring. Like it just feels so safe. Like short passes, they'll throw a couple deep passes there now. Man, it's just short pass, run, 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 short pass, run, run, short pass. Like it's just so boring to watch. And they play so safe. They did go for it on fourth down, but that's because they knew OU wasn't going to stop the run.
Yeah.
But all right, no, where we're at number 22, UCF, who is 7-2, up 3 spots. They played at Memphis and won by one
Oh, they
touchdown.
now Memphis was towards the
Decent,
top.
I think.
No, no, no,
Oh, they aren't.
no. Guess they've been on well,
I thought they had like only like 3 losses max, but
they were 4-4 in
oh,
conference.
all right, never mind. That's not a good one. That's a pretty bad one actually.
Yeah.
All
I don't
right,
know where UCF was. I think they were 25 or something,
they
so
went up 3, so they were 25. Yeah, they probably went up because the teams ahead of them lost.
yeah, I guess that's fine, yeah. I don't really Illinois lost another game, right? Is that
Yep,
then they just
number
lost?
21, Illinois, 7-2. They lost at home against Michigan State, 23-15. They dropped 7 spots.
Eh,
For Illinois, I was really rooting for. I kind of wanted them to win the Big Ten just to make it insane that they got into the playoff. Like, could you imagine Illinois in the playoff? It'd be
God.
funny. All right, I guess we'll just move on. Number 20, Notre Dame, 6-3. They beat Clemson 35-14 at home, and they appear in the top 25 for the first time in a while at number 20.
Yeah. I mean, that seems a little too high for a
I
6 and
yeah,
3
because
team.
everyone knew Clemson wasn't that good. You can't. I think they should be ranked, but I mean, at 24
20
25, you lost to
yeah.
Marshall. Marshall's really bad. That's a bad loss.
Marshall's a really bad loss because maybe, people were like, "Oh yeah, Marshall's just," and then doing terrible Sun Belt, so whatever. They're like in the mid-tier Sun Belt team. No, not a good loss for Notre Dame.
Now I'm kind of surprised by this one, but we'll get your opinion. Number 19, Liberty, 8-1. They move up 4 spots.
Honestly,
They win at Arkansas. Close
I'd put them
win.
higher.
I
I'd put them
I don't know.
higher.
I feel like I'm surprised the AP like raised them up that much. I thought they'd be below Notre Dame. I'm not saying they
Yeah,
should be, but I thought that's how they'd do it.
how they would do it. I would put them like right there under Tulane if it were me. Just respecting the record. Plus, they beat an SEC team.
I believe this one is at least tied for the biggest rise. If not, it is the biggest rise. Number 18, Texas, 6-3. They won at Kansas State by a touchdown, and they are appearing in the top 25 for the first time in a while.
I guess you can justify it because of where they got the other 6-3 teams ranked, but I'd put Liberty in front of them just because they've got 2 more
They
losses,
have a
so
close loss to Alabama, who's still in the top 10. I don't know why. They have who else have they lost to? Texas Tech, which is a bad loss. Texas Tech's really bad right now, and Oklahoma State, who's I mean that's a bad loss now. Oklahoma State had looks terrible. Texas
yeah,
was
they're
their
pretty
last
rare.
win, so they have two pretty bad losses and one okay loss that I don't really consider that okay, but where they have Alabama it looks okay. So yeah, I'd have them at I'd probably swap them in Liberty,
Yeah,
maybe even them in NC State. Liberty and NC State we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm fine with Texas being up high. Like they definitely should be above Notre Dame. Let's not get that wrong. They didn't lose to freaking
yeah.
Marshall. But all right, let's move on. Number 17, North Carolina State, 7-2, up 4 spots. They beat Wake Forest at home,
They
30 to
did.
21. What a weird score. Beat them by 9.
Yes, they did.
They're 7-2. I thought they lost their quarterback for the season, but I cannot remember. Now I thought they did, but I don't remember now. But they're 7-2. They lost to Clemson though, so they're pretty much out of the race unless Clemson drops 2 more, which they probably won't. But you never know. I don't have much to
Right.
say on them. Here's a big one though. Number 16, Tulane, 8-1, up 3 spots. They beat Tulsa at Tulsa, 27-13. I mean, it's not really that good of a win, but I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
it's not
eight
a
and
good win, but
one.
you're 8-1, and you're probably the best team in the entire group of 5, so
They are. It's not even close. Who's the next closest?
Liberty.
No, no. Liberty's independent.
Oh, they're not G oh,
UCF is the next closest at 22. Yeah, they're independent.
gotcha.
The American Athletic Conference always carries a group of 5 recently with
Then
Cincinnati,
the
Tulane, UCF.
it's always the American,
Dude,
dude.
Tulane may run the group of 5 once those 4 teams go to the Big 12 next year. You never know.
Yeah, they might.
Here's a team that I did not realize was 8-1. I'm shocked. Number 15, North Carolina, 8-1, up 2 spots. They beat Virginia at Virginia, 31-28. I did not realize they're 8-1. I know they have a really good offense, but a pretty bad defense. Their
Like,
only
no d
loss is to who is their only loss? I wonder. It's not Clemson. They haven't played yet.
I don't remember, was it, like I have no idea now that I'm thinking about it. Who was that?
Like I
That
can't.
team?
I don't know. But let's see. They lost to Notre Dame.
Oh,
That technically is
Notre
a good
Dame.
win because Notre Dame's ranked now.
Yeah.
They don't play Clemson. I guess in the other division. They do play NC State though. Yeah, I guess I'm fine with the ranking. They only have 1 loss, so throw them up there. Number 14, Penn State, 7-2, up 2 spots. They beat Indiana at Indiana, 45-14. I guess I'm fine with it. I mean, Indiana's not good, so they just moved up 'cause people above them lost. If I had to guess.
I'm assuming, yeah.
Number 13, Utah, 7-2. They are down 1 spot. They beat Arizona 45-20 at home. I don't know why they went down.
Why
Uh,
did they go down? What?
LSU went above them, I guess is why.
LSU. Yeah, that has to
Because it's
be
the
it.
only team that went above them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be what it is then.
All right.
Ouch. Feel bad for you.
Here we go. Here's our first. I guess they're not a big fall. Kansas State was the biggest faller. Here's another bigger one though. 12, Clemson, 8-1. They lost at Notre Dame, 35-14.
Yeah, get him out of there, that's all I say.
Yeah,
I don't
you
think
get
they've
them
played
out of the
a big
top 10.
yeah. They're like one of the 2 half decent ACC teams, and that's still not a great or elite team. Definitely not worthy of getting in the playoffs, so goodbye.
At least you saved yourself from getting blown out in the playoffs.
Yep.
Keep that playoff record, a little bit better looking. All right, number 11, Ole Miss 8-1. They beat Texas A&M at Texas A&M 31-28.
Honestly, I would put him above Alabama. But that's
Yes.
gonna sort itself out, like, next week, so I'm
Yep,
not
but
too
that doesn't
upset about
matter.
it.
This week they're below them.
That's true. This week they're below him. I would put him above him,
They got one
but
less loss. I don't care if they've played less good teams or not. I know last week I was saying they're overrated. I mean, they're still overrated this week, honestly. Texas A&M's terrible. You should beat them by more than 3. But all
I
you gotta
guess
do is beat Alabama, and you'll be in the top 10. It's that easy, and you'll drop Alabama to like what, number 11 probably.
yeah, probably.
All right, let's get into it. Number 10, Alabama, 7-2. They dropped 4 spots.
4.
Oh wait, why? Oh, I guess they stayed since Ole Miss stayed at 11. Interesting. Yep, Alabama dropped 4 spots. They lost at LSU 32-31 in overtime. Yeah, it was the first overtime.
Yeah, like
They
I
shouldn't
said,
be in the top 10. They should be 11 or 12.
I'd put him
Probably
11.
11. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
11. Get them out of the top 10, break their top 10 streak. They obviously
Yep.
aren't a top 10 team right now. Oh, look at all these 8-1 teams that are behind them.
I know, yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of
Alabama's
eight
it's not like
points.
Alabama's blown out and then struggled in the 2 losses. They've struggled in every single road game besides like one they've struggled in. And even some home
Yeah,
games they have.
yeah.
You can't be looking bad. They look bad. They look average. With the talent they have, that's unacceptable. But we will move on, I guess. Number 9, UCLA 8-1, up 1 spot. They won at Arizona State 50-36. Pretty high scoring game there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's fine. They play USC eventually, who is right above them at number
Yeah, we'll
8.
see. We will
Yep.
see.
They are
That'll sort
both
itself.
8-1.
I think
USC
it's fine
also went
for
up 1 spot. They beat California at home 41-35. Not impressive at all. That is not an impressive win at all. They let them come back at the end.
yeah, no, that they should be dropped for that, honestly.
Like, I know they had
I'd
some
put them
injuries,
below
but I
UCLA.
mean, it doesn't matter. The injuries are on offense, not defense.
Yeah, I'd put them below UCLA just for that.
Yeah, 'cause UCLA beat the team that beat USC. UCLA lost to the number 6 team. Like, why are they below them? Makes no
There's
sense.
no reason for them to be no reason for them to be below.
And here we go. Number 7, LSU, 7-2. They are up 8 spots. They beat Alabama at home 32-31 in overtime.
That's just
I'm not
crazy.
going to take back my statement that they were overrated. They should not have been at 10. Let's be honest. In the playoff ranking, at least they were right. They're at 15 in this. I'm fine with them being at 15, and now they're at
15
number
is
7.
fine.
The AP had
Yeah.
them fine. I'm fine with them being at 7. They shouldn't have been at 10 before they played Alabama.
I don't yeah, I think you're right.
I'm good win. I think they're a good team. They have no chance against Georgia. Let's not kid ourselves. They'll get BTFO'd.
They'll get blown out in the championship game, assuming they make it.
Now, I honestly, I'd root for them to win just so I could see a 2-loss team get in. I think it'd be insane. They'd get in. I mean, they would. There's no way they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Just see. I want to make it as hard as it can for the playoff committee to rank these teams. Have a 1-loss Georgia, 1-loss Tennessee, 2-loss LSU champ, 1-loss Oregon SEC champ. Have like an undefeated TCU, undefeated
That'd be
Ohio
hilarious,
State,
though.
1-loss Michigan. Make it so hard that they like look like idiots. And they kind of do sometimes, anyways. But let's go to number 6, Oregon, 8-1, up 2 spots. They beat Colorado at Colorado 49-10.
I mean, they did what they needed to
They
do,
did what
so
they needed to do. You didn't do anything bad. Good job. Number
I
5, Tennessee, 8-1. They are down 3 spots because they lost at Georgia 27-13, which the score
it
does
wasn't
not
never a
show
close
how
game.
bad. Yeah, never competitive. As soon as Georgia scored the first touchdown, it was over. Tennessee was up 3-0, and they never had a chance after that. Now, it kind of surprised me, but I mean, this is the AP, a little different, but Number 4, TCU 9-0, up 3 spots. They beat Texas Tech at home 34-24. Also a lot this one was a lot closer of a game than the score indicated, unlike the Georgia one.
Yeah,
They were down in the fourth quarter and then somehow managed to win by 10.
they were down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they were down by like 4 or something like that.
Yeah, I thought so. I was watching it at Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse. I love Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, yeah, they were down, but they scored 21 in the fourth quarter to win by 10.
Yeah, they do it every week. For some reason, they go off in the second half.
They play really good, like second half, fourth quarter game. Really, fourth quarter. They play really good fourth quarter
But if
game.
you play like that against Georgia, you'll be down 48-0, and there is no coming back in the fourth quarter. So
No,
they had
yeah,
to start off harder, and they have a chance to show it against Texas. They love Texas, beat Texas, and if you went out, you guaranteed to make the playoffs.
I think so. I think you're right because they do love Texas. So if
Oh,
you
they
can beat
love
Texas,
Texas, and Texas will be ranked, so it'll be a ranked win.
yeah,
You want to get to number 2 or 3. You don't want to be at number 4 in the playoffs. If you
no,
want a
you don't.
chance, you want to be 2 or 3.
Yeah, that's right. You don't want to be the hanging on the edge there because then it can justify taking you out and putting someone else in. It's a lot harder to do that when you're at 2 or 3, so
Yeah.
that's where you wanna be if you're
Get up
TCU
to
and you wanna
3 and
take.
they won't drop you out no matter what, and you don't have to play Georgia and get blown out. I think TCU has a chance to get to Ohio State and Michigan. I don't think they'd win, but I think they'd have a chance.
Yeah.
I'd at least give them a chance. With Georgia, there is no chance, honestly. They'd have to, like, just get off to a super hot start, which they never really do recently.
No.
All right, but number 3 is Michigan, up 1 spot. They beat the Rutgers at the Rutgers 52-17. Another game where the score, it was actually a lot closer than you thought it was. The first half they were down. I don't understand how they scored that many in the second half, but they did.
They poured it on 'em. Yeah, I mean, Michigan, I think they still deserve 2, and maybe now I could say put Ohio State at 3, but no, I still think they should go to 4 and put TCU at
TCU at
3.
3. All right, all right. I mean, TCU has a better win. Texas Tech isn't freaking 1-8.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I would move Ohio State down, but we're talking about Michigan. I would put Michigan at 2. Easily.
All right, well,
I
let's talk
think
about
they've
number
looked most
2.
consistent.
Number 2, Ohio State 9-0. They retained their spot. They won
Yep.
at Northwestern 21-7.
A pretty bad win.
Yeah, I know the weather is bad, but it's still inexcusable for how good your offense is supposed to be.
Yeah. I would definitely chalk that up as a
They,
pretty
I
bad.
think if they were in my head, if they're still above Ohio State at this point, I'd drop them. Which obviously they are. But I'm talking about, like, if I was a voter and I had them above Michigan, I would now have them 1 spot below Michigan, at least 1 spot.
Right.
They aren't going to
My
do it. I'd be
personal rank
surprised.
is obviously is to move Michigan up and then Ohio State to
But
4 and
Michigan
put.
would already been above Ohio State in your rankings.
Yes, that's true, but I don't see I don't see any justification for it.
No,
Michigan's looked more consistent easily throughout the year.
they've played worse opponents, which I'm assuming is the only reason why they can justify. Because they're probably, well, they haven't really played anyone super great. But if you look at common
Yeah.
opponents, which I mean you should, look at that Penn
Yeah,
State game.
look at the Penn State game.
All right, and number
Yeah,
1, Georgia 9-0. They retain their spot as they beat Tennessee
and they
27 to
nearly
13.
swept the AP votes for number 1.
Yes.
62 with only someone voted Ohio State for number 1?
Yep, one guy. You can look it up too. I don't know how, but I know you can look it up.
That guy's an idiot.
But
Whoever
yeah,
that one guy is, dude, doesn't know what he's talking about.
he just wanted to be the cool guy.
I guess. I don't know what the hell that's about. He just didn't he wanted to be different. I could see it going to Michigan, like how the coaches poll has 2 for Michigan, but, I think Georgia all the way. They definitely
You think they
proved
should
that
have
they
been
are
unanimous number
the game.
1?
Yeah. I think they definitely proved that this week.
Well, all right,
Took down.
just to recap, Georgia should be 1, obviously. Michigan should be, I'm assuming 2. Is that where you're putting them? Michigan 2.
Yeah,
And
Michigan
then you're
2.
saying TCU 3, Ohio State 4. I'm fine with either of that as long as Georgia won Michigan 2 and Ohio State and TCU's 3 and 4, like in any
Yeah.
of the order. I'm fine with Tennessee 5. I'm fine with because they lost the number one team.
Yep.
Oregon 6. I'm fine with LSU 7. I'm fine with USC and UCLA should be swapped.
Yep.
Alabama and Ole Miss
Alabama
should be
needs to
swapped.
be swapped.
Yep. Clemson, I guess I'm fine. They only have one loss. Utah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with. Penn State, I'd swap them with North Carolina, honestly. I know they lost the two top four teams, but
Yeah. But they can't win big games. They
nope.
never have won big games, so
Tulane. I guess I'm
whatever.
fine. Maybe even swap them Penn State too.
NC State, I'm fine.
Yep.
Texas, I would swap with probably at least Liberty.
Yeah, just because there's a two loss difference.
Yeah.
Notre
Notre
Dame.
Dame, I'd move down to like 24.
Yeah, they need to drop quite a bit. That's probably, I guess that's the most egregious one, really. That's the only one that we're not just swapping, we're actually like fully moving
Yeah.
down.
And that's really it in terms of like
I think the AP, if this was the playoff one, I'd be mostly okay with it, honestly.
mostly.
I'd mostly agree with that. I wouldn't have any major issues, unlike in the first playoff one, which I'm sure I'm
Yeah.
gonna have in this one too.
We'll see. We'll see. Tuesday is only a few days away now, so
Yeah, yeah,
2
we'll
days.
talk about it more because we can talk about like, would do we think TC's gonna be in the top four in it? Probably not, but we'll see. We'll talk about that more when we do our playoff video.
Yep.
But what a great week of football, and I can't wait for probably Thursday. Yeah, it has to be. 'Cause I think OU plays at West Virginia on Thursday. So football starts early this week.
Yeah. Well, I'm very depressed to be someone from Oklahoma this week,
Yeah,
so
all the Oklahoma teams are doing bad right
yeah.
now. They're all out of it. All of them are gonna get terrible bowl games if they even all get bowl games. I mean, Tulsa probably won't. OU doesn't even have a guarantee. And more than likely they will because they play West Virginia, who is the worst team in the Big 12 right now. But we'll see.
Yep.
If you guys enjoyed our playoff, or I guess didn't play, this is AP. If you guys enjoyed our AP top 25 reaction and just our week recap, then like the video and subscribe if you are new because we'll have more football content on the way.